Hey, welcome. Nate here at Operation Grind, and in this video I am going to show you how to activate your new Hikvision NVR. The Hikvision that we'll be using today is a 7616 NVR. They're all pretty much the same as far as the activation process. There is two ways to activate them. One is via the web browser, and the other one is by connecting directly into the back of the NVR via VGA or HDMI port. Pretty similar as far as the process. There is a little bit of a difference that I'll get into once we get there. Now, if you're connecting the NVR via VGA and on your monitor you see a recommended resolution size of like 1080p, if your monitor is not that size, don't hit yes. If it does, then okay, but otherwise hit no. Otherwise it kind of messes things up. Or you'll have to just use the HDMI and then hit yes. Okay, in this video we are going to go over how to connect to it and activate it via the browser. Okay, so with Hikvision, what you need to do is you need to use Internet Explorer. Okay, so I will launch Internet Explorer here. And another thing you need to do is once you plug the NVR into your network via patch cord into your firewall or what have you, you need to get the IP address that is given from your network. And so what I like to use is a tool called IP Scanner, Advanced IP Scanner. And I will link this in the description. What this does is once you run it, it will scan your network and find all the devices connected to it, give you the IP address, the manufacturer name, and the MAC address. So what I'll do is I'll hit scan. And what it's doing right now, again, is just scanning my network. And with Hikvision, as you'll see in this, because I've already done this, is that the manufacturer name Hikvision does not show up. But because I know with my experience that Hikvision uses starts off with a 58 in their with their MAC address, that it's right here and it's 192.168.1.13, and there is the MAC address of my unit. So I will type that in right here, the IP address, and hit enter, and I come up to the activation screen. Now what it's asking for is a password. I highly recommend using a secure, strong password, and you'll notice I am not using a strong secured password for the sake of this video, or for the purpose of this video. But you'll want to make sure that once you type in your password, you're over here on the strong side of things. What this password actually is also going to do is it's also going to configure your cameras that you have to, when doing it this way, to use this authentication password as well when communicating with the camera. If you do it with the directly connected to the NVR, then you can actually set that differently. Here I'm just going to type in some random names, and again, with the other version, you'll actually have a pattern that you have to draw. If you're doing it, it'll make sense. You got to do it twice. So definitely write down all this information. Write down the pattern if you're going through the NVR. Write down the security questions. Keep them safe, and definitely write down your password that you've created also. Okay, so now the NVR is actually activated, and as you can see, I do have two cameras connected. They aren't coming up just yet, just because it did just get activated, and now they're going to kind of do their registration process as far as communicating with the NVR. Some other things that we're going to go over right now once you activated it is you're going to want to come into system, or not system, network, and you're going to want to take this DHCP off. Okay, you want to kind of have you want your NVR to have a static IP address, so you know how to connect to it each and every time. Okay, so uncheck that, and you can actually change this. Make sure that you do provide an IP address that is within your subnet and not already being used. So I'll just keep that there. I'll hit save. So now it's not DHCP, so it will always be this IP address. And another thing you need to do is go into the time. All right, by default it's set to this Singapore, Beijing time. I'm on the East Coast, so I will select Eastern and sync with my computer. I want it to sync up, make sure it's got the right time, and now it does. I'm going to uncheck that and hit save. So now that's going to stay hard-coded inside the time wheel. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there is actually beeping going on in the background, and that is actually the NVR because we have no hard drives in it, so it's sounding that alarm, letting me know. And as you can see, we don't have them here, but hopefully your NVR does have hard drives, and what you'll want to do is select them here and then hit format, so they'll format and be ready to go. Now if I come over here to live, boom, now my cameras are there. All right, so as you can see, I got a fisheye camera, these are really cool. You can do pretty much all these different things with those. Those will be for another video, but keep in mind that these fisheye cameras kind of can kind of replace having a bunch of other cameras spread throughout. And there's actually a software, and on the app you can actually, what they call it, dewarp the image, where it looks like it's I'll link it, and once we create the video for that, I'll send a link so you can check that out as well. And then we have this other just dome camera setup. Okay. Another thing you're going to want to do is get another piece of software, and you can get that software by going to Hikvision. This is actually the client software, hikvision.com. Head over to hikvision.com. You're going to get the IVMS 4200 software. Okay, so we will come over to here, look for support. Where is it? Support and resources, downloads. This is firmware, which I don't want. I want client software. Okay. Yes. Click that, come all the way down, hit download. Okay, I have already done this, so I'm not going to do it again. What I'm going to do is head over to, and it's actually, once it's done, it's a zip file, so you'll have to use a zip program. So do this, created, there it is. So once it's downloaded, it should go to your downloads folder or wherever you save it to. And then you're going to want to open up a zip program, which I'm using 7-zip. And here, from within here, I can access the exe file and download it. One more thing that I forgot while this is going on, one more thing that I forgot to mention as far as the setup process. Let me get this going here real quick. I agree. Sure, let's do the client, don't need anything else, and install. Okay, while this is going on, I'm going to head right back over to here, go to configuration. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up your internal firewall to port forward some different ports to this NVR. So to get that information, head over to here. Here is your NVR IP address. Okay, and if you click NAT here, this will show you what ports that this NVR is using. So the two that are I'm going to talk about is this port 554 and port 8000. Okay, so what you want to do is within your firewall is you'll want to forward those two ports to your NVR, and I'll show you what mine kind of looks like. Whoops. I can't. Bear with me here. Okay, I'll show you what I got going on here. So your routers could be the same or it could be different, but what you're going to want to do is you'll see here I have this is where it's going, which is actually 3. So this is the NVR IP address, and then these are the ports that I want forwarded to here. Okay, now depending on your router, the setup process is going to be different, but you're going to want to do that. All right, perfect. This is all done. I'm hitting next. I'm hitting finished. Cool. And now I am going to launch that software, which does take a minute, of course. Why wouldn't it? Cool. We're only at about 10 minutes here, and we're doing really good on time. What I'm trying to do here is, is just try to show you how to do the activation, kind of little nuances after activation is done on what configuration settings to get you started. So you're not spending all day, trying to figure this out on your own. Now this program does take a second to come up. There it is. I need to set up a super user. Okay, and enable login. I highly recommend doing that. You don't want to have to input this each and every time. Okay, and now what this is like centralized. This is like central monitoring software, so to speak. Yeah, that's probably not a good word for it, but with this software, you can actually manage multiple NVRs. You can do a little bit different things as far as analytics. As far as that fisheye camera that I showed you, this actually has the dewarping software built into it, where the web browser does not. If you use your iPhone or Android, you can actually, you'll want to download this IVMS 4500, and from here you also can use that dewarping software for the fisheye camera and view all the other cameras and playback and everything else. All right, we're almost there. Okay, so we're good, we're up, we're going, and now here's a little wizard. Feel free to go through the wizard. I'm not going to. I'm gonna maximize this. Okay, so this software, it scanned the network. It detected the NVR, which is great. If you had just cameras on here, then it would detect those as well. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the client. I'm going to add this NVR to this client. I'm going to name it. I'm just going to name it test. Okay, there's the IP address. There's the port. Again, use the password that you use to. I'm going to uncheck that. Use the same password that you set it up with. Hit add. All right, perfect. Net status. Now we're online. Perfect. Okay. Device management. I'm going to close this. Now I am using this software to view my NVR. Whoops. Oh, my mistake. I hit don't add group and it did not add it. So that's okay. Let's add that back in here. Where was that? Device management. Okay, real quick. I know why I didn't do that there. Okay, so the reason I didn't do that is because, and I'll show you here, I'm going to add my own group. Okay, I'm going to give it a name, test. And I would probably recommend maybe naming it the place where these cameras are, maybe office, the actual hierarchy of it. Maybe it's a building, maybe it's your home, maybe it's a school, name the school. Okay, anyways, create group name. Okay, so of course I don't even name it right, but that's okay. Encoding channel, I'm going to import. I'm going to import this one and that one. Okay, they are now imported, and great. And now when I come over here to main view, now I got these two cameras. If I would have done that whole export, it would have took every single device or each channel, this is a 16 channel NVR, even though there's no cameras connected to it. Maybe you have all 16 cameras, and then therefore, yes, you'd want to export that group. But in my case, I did not. I only had 2 cameras connected to it, and there they are. Okay, so that's why I did that. So hope that you found this video informational. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment or any other suggestions if there's anything else you want to see. We are coming out with a bunch more videos on our YouTube channel here shortly. And so, and it's not just be camera related, it's pretty much video, communications, innovations, tips, tricks, the whole 9 yards. Just try to make your life, because life is a grind, Operation Grind, because life is a grind. Try to make it as easy as possible. All right, thanks again, Nate with Operation Grind. Talk to you later.